Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another module. Today, we're going to be talking about ad creatives and specifically for your Facebook paid ads, okay? Your Facebook ad campaigns to actually generate more leads for your agency, all right? So let's dive right into it. So today's module itinerary, we're going to be talking about script writing and the framework you need to be considering when building out your creatives, creating dynamic environments for your ads, the equipment that is recommended in order to build out really good quality ad creatives, and then breaking down my best performing ads as well too. Okay, so module lesson plan. Let's talk about script writing and framework. So study your competition. All right, this is the most important thing. I know that we discussed this a little bit in the previous module talking about your ad copy, but you need to understand what your competitors are doing so that you can basically do the opposite, do something that's a little bit different, and approach things from a different sort of perspective, so that your prospects, your viewers are going to be hearing something different that's coming from you. Okay. So don't want to overwhelm you or ramble on and on, but basically go to the Facebook ads library and watch your competition's ads. Okay. It's very simple. See how their videos are structured and if you can find similarities between them. All right. Analyze what you like and what you don't like. So once you start to categorize these things and write things that you don't like, you can avoid these altogether in your creatives. And then once you identify things that you do like, you can start to add those ideas into your creatives as well too, right? Whether that be in the raw filming process or in the editing process as well. Okay. So follow this framework. This is the most important part when it comes to actually building out your ad creatives, right? So the audience call out and preset qualification. Okay. So call out your audience and who you're speaking to. So example of this is attention e-commerce brand owners doing above 25K a month, right? So you're calling out your audience and you're basically pre-qualifying them. All right. The next step is to make them aware of your offer, timeline, and guarantee. Okay. So make your viewer aware of your irresistible offer, the timeline in which you'll provide the results in, and your guarantee. Okay. So example of this is we'll double your bottom line revenue within 12 months or else you don't pay. All right. And again, depending on what your niche is, that will change. Okay. So by this time, you've gone through the modules already in basically the fundamentals and the foundations. So you know what your offer is, you know what your guarantee is. So you basically just have to put that in there and make it, short enough that you can communicate it within like 3 seconds of your ad being run. Okay. And then after you communicate your offer, timeline, and guarantee, you're going to have that confidence through your testimonials. Okay. So kind of like in the previous module where we were talking about justifying how you can make such a grand offer, such a grand guarantee, you need to justify that. Okay. So you need to instill confidence into your viewer, like, okay, this is why this person is so confident, right? So you must back up your results with actual proof. So example of this is my agency is able to guarantee these results because we've done it so many times for X clients. Take a look at blank who came to us only doing 15K a month and now they're at X, right? So you need to basically have these testimonials wrapped up and be able to communicate them in, again, an efficient and an effective way. So you don't want to talk about one client testimonial for like 30 seconds, right? You want to be able to communicate it in a way that it's very quick and it's to the point. Okay. Now I would actually recommend, before I move on to the next step, I would actually recommend having about like 3 to 4 different testimonials in your top of the funnel ads. I know that a lot of people, they try to avoid the testimonials in their top of funnel ads, but it's actually a really good way to just introduce the fact that like you're justifying your guarantee and your offer, but it's also a really good way to just establish more trust earlier on in your customer journey, in your marketing customer journey, to your audience. Okay. So again, you're going to touch on this as well too in your retargeting creatives, but you want to make them aware of this as well too in the top of the funnel. Just because your offer and your guarantee are so grand, you have to justify it. Okay. So then you're going to present them with your unique service system. So make your viewer aware of your process that only you can create for them. Okay, this is very, very important. This is what separates you from the other agency owners out there, from you and your competition. Okay, so it's what separates you. So they must believe that in this new system that you are providing for them, it is going to be the solution to their problems. Okay, so example of this is our 3-prong system focuses on UGC content creation, an omnipresent ad approach, and website CRO optimization. These 3 components in combination together are responsible for, and then you can carry it on, right? And then you can even segue this into basically sharing more client testimonials. Okay. Now, more testimonials. Okay. So remind them that you've done this before for other clients like them. Touch on the before and after transformation that your clients made when they began working with you. Okay. Then call to action. So your goal isn't for them to book a call. Okay. I want to make this very, very clear. I think I touched on this again in the last module. People are posting ads, or they're sending emails or sending DMs, and they're trying to get people from the point of contact they're making with their prospect, whether that be an ad, whether that be the email or the DM, excuse me. And they're trying to get them to book a call. That is not by any means the goal of your ad, okay? Specifically your ad. The goal is for them to move forward in your process, okay? So again, I have written here, your goal is for them to move forward to the next step in the customer journey, which you've set. Typically, this is for them to click the link and watch your case study or your free training. That is literally the next step, okay? So your call to action shouldn't include like booking a call, right? Because that's not the goal of the ad. The goal is for them to move forward. So you need to make a call to action to click the link and watch the case study. Click the link and watch the free training, okay? Then again, you're going to remind them of your offer and your guarantee. So remind your audience of your offer and guarantee. And then after you remind them, quick call to action again too, okay? So if you actually watch some of my ads, and I believe that we're going to actually link these in here as well too for you, you'll notice that like I will make the call to action, I'll remind them of the guarantee and offer, and then I'll actually quickly go through that call to action again, okay? Now, important to note, you need to film 3 to 4 cold traffic ads and 2 to 3 retargeting ads, okay? So the easiest way to create more ads is to film all of your hooks, bodies, and call to actions separately so that you can mix and match each one. So what I actually do is I kind of split everything into like 3 components, like I had mentioned here: your hooks, your body, and your call to actions. I'll have a few different hooks, I'll have a few different bodies and a few different call to actions. And then when I send this to my video editor, he basically like mixes and matches each one of these and he puts them together, okay? He'll edit them a little bit differently. Again, we keep the editing very different so that it's kind of like a different way to split test everything. But that's just basically the way that we're able to just to create so many different ads efficiently and also test effectively, okay? So when editing your ads, you'll want to use a meme bar to communicate the following: your target audience and the qualifications you've set, your offer and your guarantee. So a meme bar is basically like if you were to watch an ad, you'd have basically like a thin sort of strip up here and a thin strip like basically down here. And then that basically is going to have text in it that communicates, again, the target audience that you're targeting and the qualifications you set. So e-commerce brand owners doing 25K a month. And then on the bottom, it's like your offer and your guarantee. So we'll add an extra 50K to your monthly bottom line, or you don't pay, something like that. Okay. Now, the dynamic environments and equipment that you need. So where and how you should be filming. Okay. So you need to split test the environments in which you film. So for example, your office space, walking around the house, being outside, being in front of a brick and mortar store, you name it. Literally be as creative as you want with this. Okay. Very, very important. Like, I would highly recommend that in the first 3 to 5 seconds of your ad, you aren't stationary. I am a huge victim of this because my office space is like my pride and joy. Right now, I'm not in my office space. I'm actually in Dubai. But if through the ads that I'll show you guys, like everything's so well set up, the lighting's really good, all that stuff is really great. But I bet you that with the ads that we've created that are specifically in our retargeting, that they really go into more like a dynamic environment. It's not me necessarily sitting down or nothing like that. Like, they're just so much more engaging, right? So if you're top of the funnel, you want to make sure like the first 5 seconds of your ads, especially on Facebook, make them engaging. And the best way to do that is by being in an environment or by doing something that isn't just like you sitting there presenting yourself all nice in front of the camera, right? You want to do something that's a little bit more engaging. So apply this with context. Obviously, every one of your situations is going to be different. Like, a cool thing for an e-commerce agency would be in front of like a brick and mortar store, because it's kind of like it's just, I don't know, it's kind of like, it's funny because like you're serving e-commerce stores, but you're in front of a brick and mortar store, right? So you can even use that as like a joke that you play in your hook, right? You can be walking around the house or walking around your office, just something that's more engaging, okay? So you need to create a dynamic feel to your ad that increases watch time, okay? So color contrast in the background, add depth of field to your background, okay? Create interesting aspects to your video that give more reason to your viewer to stop scrolling on your ad. Now, guys, this is stuff that you would just learn in like high school film class, right? Like creating depth of field, having good color contrast in the background, right? Like if really, and I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but if you just go to like your favorite Instagram influencer and you look at their feed, the reason why their feed looks so good, especially like these travel guys, is because they use their feed, their pictures, they use contrasting colors in the background, right? Typically, people love taking photos at sunset because it looks so nice. It looks so beautiful. Like they have like oranges from the sky, from the sun. Then they have like the blues from the sky. They have the clouds. Like it all contrasts together. Okay. So without going down like that rabbit hole too much, you can understand what I'm saying. So you need to have some way so that your background looks really good. Okay. You can do this on just by going to your favorite influencer's Instagram, do this by going to your favorite YouTube gurus, YouTube videos. You'll see that they're creating this depth of field that places importance on them, but the background looks also really, really good. Looks really sharp, okay? So the equipment that you'll need, all right? A high quality camera, okay? A DSLR camera, preferably. I personally use a Sony a7 III. It's really, really good. Obviously, with a DSLR, you don't only just want like a good camera body, but you want a good lens. So anything that has like a really good f-stop that is basically low enough that it kind of blurs out the background and it just places more emphasis on you is a really good thing to have. Okay, so a DSLR camera, you don't need to overspend on this. I know I did, just because like I'm at that point. I create a lot of content. I believe that my my a7 III, with the lens that I have, I believe the whole entire setup was around like $5,000 or $6,000. So somewhere in that realm. Again, please do not feel like you need to spend that much on a camera setup. Because again, the next option here is the back of your mobile camera. Okay, so if you have like an iPhone 14 Pro Max, more than enough, right? Place it on a tripod. You make sure you're using this camera. Don't use this camera. You know, place it on a tripod. You can film yourself, and it's still a good enough amount that you can still edit with. And I know that the iPhone 14 Pro Max, you can actually adjust like the f-stop and everything on it, which is really good. So keep in mind which platform you're filming for, so that you can position your camera in either landscape or portrait positioning. Okay, so this is portrait mode. This is landscape mode. Okay, so you need to make sure that if you are making a YouTube ad, you're filming like this. If you're filming a Facebook ad, you're typically filming like this. Okay, and the reason for that is because it's going to take up more of the feed. If you're filming like this on landscape mode and you're posting that to Facebook or you're posting that to Instagram, it's going to take up smaller portion of Instagram or Facebook feed, right? Leaving you with just unclaimed real estate that you had the ability to basically take over. Okay, so that's everything for the camera. For the microphone, there's a few options. Obviously, the Blue Yeti mic, it's actually the one that I'm currently using right here. Blue Yeti mic is a very good option. You can use a Shure mic. I know that Shure just came out with a new USB mic. I believe it's called like the Shure SMB7 or something. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But the Shure mics are really good. The new option they did come out with is a smaller version of like their kind of like their main podcast mic, and it's a lot more inexpensive. So take a look at it. And then you can also get like a Rode lapel mic. Those are also really good. A lot of people rave about them. I've never personally used it, but I've seen a lot of our coaches who we work with on the InfoProc side, they always use them. Okay. Now, in terms of the filming and editing process, it's probably one of the most important sides of the actual creative, because, you know, in raw form, it's not going to be that engaging, but when you actually start to edit it, that's where like it really comes to life. Okay. So filming your ads. All right. Don't try and film the entire ad in one go. I see way too many people like thinking like this. And again, I can say this from experience, because I used to think like, oh God, I got to like remember this entire script. By no means do you have to do that. Okay. So you can pause in between sentences so you aren't forced to memorize your entire script. Okay. So think about your body language and how you're acting behind the camera, right? So when you are like, the best way I like to communicate it is have your camera facing you, have your laptop or your computer off to the side with your script open, and just like each sentence, just like keep in mind, like, how does my body language look? How do I look right now? Like, how do I feel confident? Do I feel enthusiastic? Do I feel excited behind the camera? And just read a sentence, memorize it, and then communicate it to the camera, right? Because the main thing here is when you go to edit it, they're just going to cut out the pauses and the breaks in between, right? So it's going to look like you communicated all in one go, but you didn't, right? So put your utmost effort and energy into that one sentence and then restart, go to the next sentence. And then you basically just rinse and repeat. Okay. So think about your body language and how you're acting behind the camera. Have your script shown in front of you behind the camera for easy access to read and recite what you're saying. You do not need to stop the camera at each clip. Okay. So you like, if you read a sentence and then you stop and then you go read another sentence, like you don't need to like be pressing the stop button on each clip. Just let the whole thing run through. You'll film an ad and it'll be like 3 to 5 minutes, but then by the time you edit it, it'll be less than a minute. Okay. So don't worry about like stopping at each clip. Just film your whole entire ad in one go, press stop at the end of it. Okay. Now, when it comes to editing your ads, edit all the pauses out of your ad. I think that's pretty straightforward. Speed up the parts of your ad that seem slow, but not too much where people can't understand what you're saying. Okay. I recommend like, I mean, you'll have to obviously find a sweet spot within your ads, but there's some ads that like I'm talking really slow because I'm using important words that aren't like, you know, complex words by any means, but they're just big words, right? So I'm trying to speak clearly and simply by slowing down the way that I talk. But when I do that, it's just creating a longer amount of time to actually get the point across or to make that ad, right? So I basically will, in the editing process, I'll have it sped up a little bit, okay? Add subtitles to your ads. This might be better known as Alex Hormozy style content, okay? Alex Hormozy kind of like deemed this his, but having those big subtitles pop up that basically have like the sound effects that, you know, if it mentions something about like money or whatever, it uses like a, you know, like a cash like sound effect or like a, I don't know, like a POS system sound effect. You get what I'm trying to say, right? Or you have like the bells sound effects, stuff like that. Okay. So utilize the subtitles, utilize the sound effects. Add a meme bar to your ad to showcase your offer and guarantee to the viewer and to also call out your audience. Use emojis to pop up that align with what you're saying. Show screenshots and client testimonials in a picture form when referencing them in your speech. And then use sounds effectively at very specific points in your video and zoom in and out of the frame to create engagement. Okay. This is, again, a lot of people on YouTube do this. Like you'll see that like the frame goes in and out of their face. So you can also do that to create more engagement. Now, editing softwares to consider. Obviously, there's like kind of three main ones. Final Cut Pro, that's the one that I personally use. If you use, you know, like a Mac, it's personally, I just find the best. It's very, very easy to learn. Adobe Premiere Pro or CapCut. Okay. Very, very simple. What I would probably recommend, honestly, like if you're not that good at editing, don't worry about it. You can have your ads edited for probably like $20 an ad by like a pretty good editor by going to Fiverr or Upwork. Okay. $25 to maximum $30 per ad. It's very, very simple. So if you're creating 5 ads, you're spending $100. Okay. It's not that bad. So yeah, the best thing that you can do for the highest quality ads is film your content and have it sent to a professional editor, right? So very, very simple. Okay. So action steps for today. Script write your ads, okay? Write out what you are going to say, write the script for it, and have it somewhere where it's easily accessible so that it's not like, it can be on your laptop behind the camera so that you can read from it. Film your ads and then hire an editor to edit your ads, or if you feel confident enough to edit them yourself, okay? Guys, highly recommend doing this. Take one day to script write your ads and then take a second day to just film everything and even edit everything if you can. I would not try to drag on this process because, again, I can speak from experience. Like the more you prolong this process, just the more it weighs on your shoulders. Like just try to get this done as soon as possible while putting your best foot forward and the most amount of energy forward. But just make sure that you get this done sooner than later, right? Because honestly, it's an easy process to get done. Once you have this all ready to go, this is like the hardest part of it because building out your ad campaigns, as you probably saw in the last modules, like it's actually pretty straightforward. This is the most complex part. So get your ads filmed, get them edited, and just go straight to market and have them actually posted. Okay. So hope you guys enjoyed this module. If you guys have any questions about your ad creatives, please drop questions in the Discord community. That's obviously what the community is for. And then what I'm going to do as well too is in this section, I am going to include some of our own agency ads so that you can actually like watch them and get some ideas from them. And just to be able to use them to the best of your ability, right? You can see how we kind of like utilize our meme bar. You can see how we zoom in and out of our creatives, how we use color contrast, everything like that. Okay. So you guys will get to see those in this module. So like I said, drop your questions in the Discord and I will see you guys in the next module. Have an amazing rest of your day and we'll see you in the next one.